First thing I want to do is look at how could we display an image, where would that go? We have this default path set up of public/images, and in app.js, it says anything static is automatically in public. So just go on your computer and grab any old image. Doesn't matter what you grab. Just grab any image. And copy it into your lesson 5 folder, and it should go inside of public and images. And just paste it here.
And put it in an image library?
Put it in public images. So maybe now on the About page, we can just add the image. So just static HTML. So we just say it's images, name of our file. We don't have to include public. Now, we should actually prefix this. There's a problem with the path. What's the problem with the path? Look at where our file is, our about file. Where is it in our directory tree? Where do all of the views live? Yeah, inside the views subfolder. So we've got to go, that's right, we've got to go up. So if I try to load this, this is what we would think that it wouldn't show up, right? Because we're inside of views. That's what this line in app.js is doing. It's doing that mapping into the public folder for us directly. So I didn't actually have to traverse the directory tree. Very good question. Right? The public is implied because it's configured here. So we don't want that. Okay. So let's add a common header for our 3 views to share, and then we'll maybe just go and grab the CSS off of Bootstrap and dump it into the style sheets and have that linked into our header. So all our files will use that style sheet. So here's kind of the convention. We're going to create a header.ejs file, but because it's going to be shared, the language, common language for a shared file is there in Express and Node. We call those partials. So it's a part of a page that's going to be shared and displayed on multiple pages. So inside of views, I'm going to make a subfolder, a new directory. So I right-clicked on my views. I said new directory. So I'm going to call this partials. So now I have views and partials. And in here, I'm going to make a new EJS file called header.ejs. It's just a blank file. So here's what I'm going to do. So I now have a blank, I have views, partials, and a blank header.ejs. I'm going to go to my index page. I'm going to grab the first 7 lines. So everything from the doc type up to and including the body. We did this in PHP. I want to remove this stuff and put it in my header. So I'm going to cut that out of index.ejs and save. I'm going to put it in here. So now I've broken out the header code into a separate file. And now I want to include the header. So I'll use server-side tags. And instead of an equal sign, I'll put in a minus sign. And then we'll add the include function, partials. Oops. So this is my equivalent of using a require or a require once function from PHP. So the HTML from this, for the header now no longer lives here, it lives inside of header.ejs. We just split it up.
If I actually made a capital with partials, I've taken partials with capital N.
I don't know, you have to try it. If I go back and refresh my browser now, if I look at my index page, it should look exactly the same. So if I go back to index, you can't tell, there's no difference, right? If we view the source, it still looks like a complete page. It's just all of this stuff is now living in our header. So let's add some links to our header. Why don't we in the body, and later we can add, let's add a nav tag. Let's put in 3 links. So our first link is just going to go to the root folder. Our second is going to go to about. And our third one will go to random. So notice we didn't have to specify index. This is not the name of the views. This is where we can make up our own URLs, right? Because whatever these hrefs, whatever the anchors go to, we're mapping them here. So if we want to write friendly URLs, we can. And our last one will go to /random. Now we've got a little nav bar. So if you refresh your home page, you should now get 3 links at the top. Yes, they're still going to be displayed as a bulleted list for now. We can fix that pretty easily. Just going to check mine. So now we've got these links. So there's about with our image. There's our random page. And you can see there is a default style sheet. There's not much in it, but there is a little bit. So it's in style sheets. So here's our style. So it does give the links a color. So we do have this by default. You can change this, blow it off, do whatever you want with this style sheet.
Can you go to the index.ejs, please? The index.ejs file.
This is the index.ejs. That's it. So now let's do the same. Let's copy our include line from index and let's put it on our other 2 views as well. So we're going to copy the include. We'll go to about and let's take out everything up to and including the body tag, right? We're going to get that stuff from our header instead. Body up and delete and paste in our. So now all 3 pages should be sharing that header. So we've got the navbar, common navbar, and we can navigate around our little 3-page site.
So we're deleting each header on every.
Yeah, delete everything up to and including the opening body tag. That stuff can live in the head file. So now if I try to navigate around, oh, not so good. Index still works. Why are about and random not working? What's the error message telling us in very big, bold letters? Yeah, our head, we've now got our header is now looking for a variable called title, right? Why is our index page not crashing, but the other 2 pages are crashing? Brandon?
Because we've defined title for the homepage.
Right, on index, we are passing in a variable called title. But when we're loading about and random, we never provided a title variable. So we want to, and it doesn't matter what order, when we're passing in these values to about, we're also going to need to pass in a title variable. By adding that code in blue, if we save our change, our about link should actually work now. Well, that error will go away because we're now supplying on line 16 a title. So add the comma, create the variable called title, and pass in a value. So now about works. We still have that error on random, so we're going to need to do the same thing. After we pass in a random number, we now need a comma. And again, we need a variable called title. Now our little mini site should all work. Huh?
So like just every time, like if something is wrong, will it just not work at all, or like will part of it work with something?
No, it'll crash. The good news is it's easier for us to, by the time we deploy it, we fixed the errors, or we fixed a lot more of the errors. We're less likely to put buggy stuff online. So I actually like this. I prefer this over the PHP model that basically lets us do whatever we want. You know, display variables that don't exist, whatever. PHP will just print out blanks. This will stop us from doing it. So now if we refresh random, now we have this little app here. Connor? Sure. You don't have to. It's a good idea because what that means is when someone looks at your application, what I know is that these are shared files and these are basically individual pages. If you put header, footer, and other things directly in the views, it will still work. You could do it without. I find this is good practice. Okay. Let's do one more thing. We've got a style sheet. Let's grab Bootstrap style sheet and download it and save it in here and implement that. Then we can quickly style our navbar really easily. So let's go to getbootstrap.com. If we click on download, actually, hang on, maybe we can just get it right here. Just a second. Bear with me for a second. And okay, we do want to go to downloads, probably the easiest. So I'm going to click on download Bootstrap. Or I suppose, well, we could use the CDN if we want. I'm just going to open this up. What I really just want for now is this file. Actually, I'll get these two. bootstrap.min.css and bootstrap theme.min.css. I'm going to copy these two files. If you want to copy them all, that's fine. Really doesn't matter. I'll just copy those two files. And I'm going to dump them in public style sheets.
And so the min and the theme min.
Yeah. The bootstrap.min and the bootstrap-theme.min.css. And then I want to add these two style sheets into my header file. If you copy everything from here, that's fine. No big deal. Actually, there is something else we should copy. We're going to need the bootstrap.min.js file.
Is that it? Where's that? Oh.
So I'm going to copy that one. So that's in the JS folder. And in public, the Express generator, nicely built SA JavaScripts folder. So let's paste those. And Bootstrap also wants jQuery. So we should probably go and download jQuery as well. So I've got the bootstrap.min.js. I'll include the npm.js. Probably don't need it. And I may as well go to jQuery and download the latest version of jQuery into my JavaScripts folder. So I'm just going to click on the download jQuery button here. And I'm just going to download I'll download version 2, the compressed production jQuery. So I'm just going to right click and save this one as, and I'll just save it into my JavaScripts folder. So here's lesson 5. So into public and JavaScripts, it's jQuery 2.2.0.min.js. If you get a different version or you get the unminified one, that's fine.
We want to save it in JavaScript?
Yep, public JavaScript. So JavaScript now has these 3 files. And style sheets has these 3. So what we want to do is we'll include these 2 CSS files in our header now. We can open up header. I'm going to put these before the default style sheet. So I'm going to link. So here we want style sheets. Notice we do need a leading slash here. That's because we're inside of the partials directory. We need to go one level up. So we're going to go to style sheets and bootstrap.min.css. And we'll install the theme as well. So bootstrap-theme. Now, I'm not going to make a footer for today. In your assignment, you also need to make a footer, and that's probably the best place to put your JavaScripts. But for now, I'll put the JavaScripts here. So actually, let me just maybe make a comment here. So this is my CSS. JS. So we'll add jQuery has to go first because the Bootstrap CSS uses jQuery. So the jQuery.min.js has to be referenced first. So we'll add those, as I said. If we had a footer, we'd probably put these things in the footer instead. For today, they can go here. For your assignment, you don't have to use Bootstrap at all. By all means, you want to do your own CSS, go for it. You want to use Bootstrap to save yourself time, that's fine.
The script.
So because we've overridden the main style sheet, we're using Bootstrap style sheets first. If we refresh, we may see a few style changes now in our EJS views. Yeah, so things shifted a little in position and our font changed. So we'll just format the Navbar a little bit as well. And then we'll try to push this to Azure and I'll give you your lab. So all I want to do is I need to jump back over to the Bootstrap site and grab a class to format this UL so it doesn't show up as a bulleted list. So if I go to their theme, they've got some nav bars. So if I give it a class of navbar default, we'll try that. See what that does. I may still need to apply a class to the UL tag as well. I'm not sure. Now again, you could just style the nav tag in the style.css file and make your own style for the nav bar. Okay, well, it's partly there, but obviously we need some more work. What else do we want? UL class of navbar nav. We'll see if this gets us a little closer to what we want. No. Well, our bullets are gone. Obviously, we're still missing. Oh, do I need this all in it? Oh. Navbar dash fix dash top. I think we need as well. Among other things, I may route it up to the top. I think there's still something else missing here. We're getting closer.
Mine worked.
Yeah, mine works.
Yeah, mine works.
What's it called?
Yours worked before?
Yeah.
Yeah, without adding that last thing.
Without adding? I obviously did something wrong. What's different on yours and is there anything different on yours and mine?
Mine works too.
All right, well, I'll fix mine up after. My code's working for you? Great. Not working for me. Is yours exactly the same as mine?
All I didn't put any titles in LI, but I don't think that would matter.
I don't think that would matter either.
Yeah,
You have titles and it works?
exactly.
All right, I'll tweak it and fix it and figure out why it's not working.
But I guess if you want like an image on every page, just post the image on every page then.
Yeah. So this is only our shared header. All right, I'll have to play around with that a little bit later as to why. Okay, so the last thing I want to do with this is I want to put this on GitHub and then I want to try and deploy it to Azure, even with my goofy navigation bar, which I'll fix later. So I'm going to open up my GitHub client. Oh, actually, there is one thing we're going to do first. So there's instructions for this on Blackboard. Before we deploy it to GitHub, there's a quick walkthrough here. I'm going to walk you through it, but this is here as a reference. So in the lesson 5, in the week lesson 5 folder, there's 2 things here. 2 links about deploying to Azure. The first one, there's one little hack we have to make that we're going to do together right now. And the second thing is here's a quick little like 3-minute walkthrough of deploying Node to GitHub to Azure, which is what we're going to do. So these links are here for you. 3-minute video and the deployment stuff. Okay. So what we want to do is go to your bin folder and double click this www file to open it up. So this is what the file looks like. There's one thing in here we have to change, the one small path issue we have to change to get this to run on Azure. So select everything, hit Control-A to select all that code and copy it to the clipboard. So copy all of the code in bin www. Then go up to your root folder and we're going to make a new JavaScript file that's going to be called server.js. Blank file and paste all of the code in here. So it's exactly, these 2 files are exactly the same, www and server.js. We have to make one tiny change in here. We have to remove one character. Azure is looking for a file called server, and this path, we have to take out one of those 2 dots on line 7. Yes, I spent many hours trying to figure out how to do this until Tom put me onto this tutorial where he pointed this out.
What's the top thing? User bin MV node. It has like a red thing.
That has to do with where the application is starting from.
Okay, so that's okay.
Just a comment, it's fine. So on line 7, where there were 2 dots, there was 1 dot. So these files are identical except for that line. There's 2 dots here and there's 1 dot here. That's fine. It's a little trick Azure is going to want. So now I'm going to open up my GitHub client. I'm going to create a repository, make a commit, and push everything we did to GitHub. So I'm going to click on the add. I'm going to, so it's got create enabled here. I'm going to browse to my lesson 5 directory. So I'm going to choose lesson 5 as in the browse for folder. So I'm creating a new repository here, and I'll call it COMP2106 lesson 5. Under git ignore, I'm going to type in or select Node. So all of the support node files, they don't have to get copied up to the repository. We can ignore those. It will just copy up our files, basically, that our application needs. Don't worry about it. If you don't have it, it's fine. So I'm going to create my repository. And I'm going to make my first commit. So I'm going to click on changes and enter a commit message. My first commit will be called initial commit.
It just made a subfolder. That's why there's nothing in there.
Oh, I hate that. Where did it go? Okay, I'm going to remove this and redo it. Yeah,
So
thank you, Matt. Hang on, I'm going to do that. I'm going to redo it. Instead of, I'm going to choose add because otherwise, yeah, I messed up the path.
You can create add or create.
Yeah, I'll do it again.
You just have to delete the actual.
I have to delete the folder name. Thank you. I wasn't paying attention. Right.
no existing
See, that's what-
location. That's what I had a problem with.
You know what? I'm going to do add and do it this way instead. Then it won't create the folder. Yeah, see, there's no Git repository here. So I'm going to create one there and rename it. So now I didn't create a subfolder for me.
So we just do that for add. But
Yeah, and I forgot to choose the git ignore for my node files. It really doesn't matter. It's okay. So now I've got changes. I'm going to make an initial commit.
I only have, it's only gonna get you true saying gigamore or whatever. It didn't go through.
Okay, just 1 second, Scott.
Yeah.
Okay, I've messed mine up, so now I need to go and clean it up. I'm going to have to do this piece again. Okay, I need to just blow off that, which I don't want. I'll go back to my command prompt. I'll initialize git again, reinitialized it. Okay, we'll try again. So I've created a repository in lesson 5.
What'd you type in for initial?
Where's my lesson 5? So now I will add it in again. So much trouble because I didn't notice a subfolder was there. So I'm going to add my lesson 5 repository. Now I'm going to try and commit my changes. And publish.
does not appear in the Git repository?
So now when I go to GitHub, oh, it's still syncing.
What did you do with the server.js file? What code did you run?
I just saved, it's just saved in the root of the application.
Yeah, but what did you copy into it?
Everything from the bin www folder. I changed that ... to a single dot in the server.js file. It's very slow for some reason. Okay, well, we'll see if this publishes. While this is...
Failed.
Yes, that's failed. Okay, maybe we'll have to try it this way. I'm going to try it through the command prompt. I'm going to try git add dot to add all of my files. I'll make a try this initial commit again. Okay, so I've seemed to have messed up my GitHub repository. So I will have to fix this. I do want to show you your lab. Okay. And then, in fact, I'll give you a demo of the lab. You have until Wednesday night. Your lab is to practice using the Express generator. We'll have to get it onto Azure next week. That's fine. Okay. So what you need to do is make a new application called Lab 4. Use the Express generator to build it. Okay. Make sure you use EJS, so you need the -E like we did today. Otherwise, you'll get Jade templates rather than EJS templates. You need to make an EJS template for each member of your immediate family. So parents and siblings. If you come from a family of 10, you can just pick 4 of them. Okay. Create a shared header that includes a link to each member of the family. I think I made it. Thought I did. I guess I didn't. I'm not sure why it's on. So, and then you'll need a root handler for everyone's name. So each page will share Bill. It will load a page that will say something about Bill. Maybe Bill's your dad or Bill's your brother. So it will be basically a version of what we just did in class. So your site should have maybe 4 views, a page about you, page about each sibling and each parent with their name and something about them, and root handlers in your index.js to load each page. Okay, so you don't have to do any logic, coding, database, any of that. It's basically just showing me that you have Express set up. And you just have to push the code to a Lab 4 repository on GitHub. Nope. You don't have to include images. You don't have to include styles. Okay, just show me that you can create a basic Express generator site. And once you do that, the portfolio is going to be easy, because your portfolio is basically going to be the same, a bigger version of the lab, where you're fleshing it out and adding content and adding some design to it, really. So the lab is just a mini version of it. So all you need to submit is create a repository called COMP2106-lab4 and push your files to GitHub and submit the link on Blackboard. Okay, so you have until Wednesday night. So you have a day and a half to do it. So just a sentence or two about each person and that the URLs are loaded properly. Okay, I thought I had a version of it running. It is running, but maybe I just didn't include the links. Let's see. Right, so here's kind of what it looks like. Right, here's your finished product. Right, so I've got a shared header. So this is kind of what I want to see. Yeah, he's a little hard of hearing. Okay, so this is what your application should look like. That's it for today. So what we will do next week, I'll find my GitHub repo and we'll push it to Azure the start of class next week. So you don't have to use Azure for your lab. Okay, so we'll push to Azure and then we will start talking about MongoDB and the modeling piece, getting our database in here. Okay, Scott, just a minute, please. I do see your hand.